Hello. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday morning. Welcome to my Facebook Live. I'm coming to you from a rainy, yucky day here in Buenos Aires, but all the more important for you to be able to just kind of kick back, relax, and enjoy, um, you know, a little live session where you don't have to do anything. Am I right? I hope you are sitting there with a nice cup of coffee and just kind of let me tell you, I honestly remember when I was a teacher, I used to love those professional development sessions because I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was sit back and relax and learn. And who doesn't like that, right? Sitting back, relaxing, and learning. So that's my goal here for these Facebook Lives, which you could also see on my YouTube channel recorded. For right now, I go live on Facebook and then I just put the recording on YouTube. Sometimes people like different types of different platforms. So whatever works for you. I just want you to know that you're not alone here. I feel like, we have a lot of different people who join, a lot of different people who follow me, although we're all teachers and we're all in this together. I have teachers of all different types. I have some teachers who are, let's say, teaching Spanish to business executives that need it to travel. I have other teachers who are just teaching little Chinese kids English online. And then I have other ones who are maybe teaching high school Spanish in the classroom in the United States. Whatever it is, welcome. We're all in this together. I feel like this is um, especially these days, especially since COVID, I think we're all sharing a lot of similar issues or problems or tools online. And so that's what I'm here for. I'm hoping to be able to share with you some different tools that would be helpful. I find that most teachers are kind of at the same level where everybody's using some technology, everybody's heard of a bunch of these common tools, but maybe it didn't really work real well when you used it, or you used it, but it wasn't great, or you're using it but not real well, or you don't take advantage of everything that it has to offer. That medium zone is where I feel like I'm the most helpful. So I'm going to throw out some technology tools to you. Hopefully, it will be something that either you've used before or you just didn't realize how to use it in your class. So, or maybe all the different ways you could use it. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. Um, Let me just jump in and really quickly before we jump into the topic of today, which is online collaborative tools. That's where I'm trying to get all the students into using some, well, maybe not all or small groups, but in general, I'm trying to get the students to get in and use things together. So the online collaborative tools will be our topic today, and I'll show you two tools that I think are super versatile and really helpful. So that's what we're going to do today. But before I jump in, I just thought I'd introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. As you can see by the little logo in the corner, my name is Maggie Brennan, and I'm a former high school Spanish teacher who I taught for many years. I loved the experience of teaching in the classroom. Of course, there was parts of it that I didn't love so much, but that comes with the territory, right? Not every job is great in all of its aspects. Push came to shove, and my husband was offered a job opportunity in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and so we moved. So now, once I took another step in my career, and here I am in Buenos Aires, and now I just focus on the educational technology teacher training. I've done it both as individual trainings, both live and online. I've done it for large groups. I do it, I worked in a school for a long time where I was just teaching, where I would train teachers from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, and in how to use technology well. What is a good way to employ this that isn't just, playing with bells and whistles in class, how you really could enhance your teaching, how you could really get your students engaged with your lesson, how you could really improve what you're doing. And that's really my goal here today. So now that you know a little bit about me, I just really want to emphasize the fact that although I have specialized in technology. I certainly don't believe that technology is the only way to teach, or just because you're using a website means it's a great lesson. Not at all. I think technology is just one tool of many tools in your toolkit, and so just because you're like I'm really techie, I hear that all the time. Oh, you don't need to teach me anything. I'm really techie. I'm like, oh, really? Like what exactly? And so I always find that there's a way to help to make it better and to improve your lessons and to engage students more. So that's what I truly believe, and that's what I think is most important for us to do as teachers, is to use the tools to enhance our learning, not just to substitute something that we were doing with pencil and paper, but now we're doing with an online tech tool, right? So that's what I'm hoping to do, not only today, but what I'm hoping to do with all of these Facebook Lives or any, blog posts that you see me here. Is we're trying to figure out how we can do it really well to enhance the learning of all of our students, right? Okay, so today, I guess what I've really had in mind these days is what I'm feeling like all of us are struggling with, is this concept where we're teaching some students in person, we're teaching some students online, and even if you're one of those lucky people who are not doing that at the same time, I think that's got to be the hardest teaching modality that we've got right now, where you're one teacher teaching both in person and online students. Not everybody's doing that. Some people are just teaching in person or just doing it online. But I think a lot of us are finding that we need to have the flexibility to be able to do both, because maybe this month we're online with our students and next month we're going to go back to in person. All of our realities are very different. So that's why I want to talk about the different tools that we could use that would really help us be flexible in our teaching modalities. Okay, so that's the overall concept. How can we, for today, which is what are some online collaborative tools? And when I say collaborative, I mean teaching tools where, like let's say a website or an activity where the students are all participating at the same time. Maybe it's a small group, maybe it's a large group, but whatever it is, lots of students are participating at the same time. So collaborative is like a Google Doc, right? You've got, how when you share a Google Doc, you've got, let's say, 3 or 4 students at the same time adding to that one Google Doc, and you can see it all happening live at once, right? Well, that's what I mean by collaborative. So today I'm going to show you 2 different tools that is an example of online collaborative work, because I really think that is a flexible way of teaching these days. There's a million tools we could use, but these are just 2 examples. So hopefully you find them helpful. Okay, so the first one we're going to use is something called Jamboard, and Jamboard is an online whiteboard. It's a Google product, and you could use it for like anything that you would use a whiteboard for. And the second one we're going to do is called Mindmeister, and Mindmeister, it's kind of a goofy name, isn't it? I mean, I shouldn't insult them, but it's working for them. But Mindmeister, again, is an online collaborative website where we could create mind maps or flow charts, or sometimes mind maps are called spider maps, things like that. So I thought what I would do here today is I'm going to share my screen with all of you. And yeah, okay. And I've never done this before, so help me through. As I share my screen, I wanted to show you first Jamboard. Now, Jamboard, like I said, is a Google product. So the minute you go to jamboard.google.com, you will see the ability to create a new board. And the board is literally just a whiteboard. I logged in with my Google email, and I'm sure you could do the same thing with, log in with Google type of a thing. It's free, and it'll always be free. So that's a huge advantage, And so when you get in there, I prepped this. So as if I'm the teacher, you're my students, and you're looking at this right now. This is, for a way, for example, that we can get the students all involved in the same thing. What are the pros and cons of a class trip? It's kind of a brainstorming session, right? So I prep it ahead of time. As you can see, I could prep multiple pages if I wanted to. Here's just the first one of many. And over here you can see you've got all kinds of tools you could use. So what is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to share this board with your students. So if I share it right here, watch, you can see it looks just like any other Google product where I could enter in here the students' emails or their names. I could give them different permissions, or I could just copy the link and maybe put the link in my Google Classroom or on any other learning management system or in an email, whatever it may be. So that's how you share the board with different people. Now, you could do this as a small group activity. Let's say 5 students are going to work on this, and then you could create another one where another 5 students are working on a different science project. It doesn't have to be the entire class, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so here are the pros and cons. And normally the way students like to participate is they create a little sticky note. So over here, see how you can see here, sticky note? So I'm just going to say the pros and cons is we go to a beach. Okay, so that's my sticky note. I'm going to put it in yellow and click Save. If I'm done, I click Cancel. If I want to create another one, it would be Expenses is another disadvantage. I'll put that in a different color and click on Save. And now I'm just going to click Cancel. And then anybody can move it to either the pro or the con side, you know, of this. And then, you know, keep going and filling it. People could also add, like as a teacher, you can see here there's a little laser, like maybe I want to draw attention to that or say, hey, everybody, did you see this? And then it disappears, something like that. I can write if I want to. I think when you write on a board, it always looks kind of bad, so that's not my favorite, but you can do that if you want to. Erase it here. Go back to my pointer where maybe I want to grab something and just delete it. I could do that too. And there's, I could create, that's a circle, for example. There's other images, but maybe I want to highlight something. I've got a separate little submenu here where I can send it to the back so that I could see the sticky note on the front. Lots of different ways you can do this. And then here's a text tool. This is what I used to create the title at the top of the page. So super easy to use. As you can see, if let's say I want to clear the whole thing, I can, you know, erase the whole board by clicking here, or I could click on and create another background. This may be great for a different type of activity where you've got lines, where you've got a grid, all different ways you can use it. Another really, I think, creative way of using this is that you would set here, I just went to page 2, you could add an image. Let's say the image is I don't have an image uploaded, sorry, but here you add a photo, and you'd add a photo of some type right here in the middle. Maybe it's the way to get the hook of your lesson. You put the photo right in the middle, and you say, okay, everybody, what does this make you think of? This is the image to the book. What do you think the book is going to be about? Here we have, you know, an image. Tell me the vocabulary you need to describe this. I'm always thinking vocabulary because I teach foreign languages, right? So I always fall back to vocabulary or how to write an essay, you know, that's my thing. But it could be a brainstorming of any type. You could add an image. Or here's another idea. You could take a photo of a text and stick the text right up there in the middle, and then have the students highlight or circle or add comments about what the text represents, what the text means. All different ways you could use this Jamboard for brainstorming, for class activities, to get people talking, to get everybody writing on the board. So that's Jamboard. I don't know if anybody else has any questions. Okay, I see some comments coming in, but they're not specifically about Jamboard, so I'll keep going. Like I said, Jamboard is free. That's a huge advantage. The disadvantage to Jamboard is that there's no like history. So let's say you want to go back to a previous version. You can't really do that. And if all students, you know, some students may by accident erase other students' work. So It's a brainstorming session, but it's not something to be kept in stone. It's good for like a marker, an eraser, and a whiteboard. Anything that you would use in class like that. So that would be my suggestion as far as Jamboard goes. If anybody has any questions about Jamboard, let me know. I'll put those in the comments. If not, I'll just jump into the second tool of our day today, which is how are we doing here on time? I'm just looking at how we're doing. Okay, 15 minutes. All right. So let me just jump into this other one. This one is MindMeister. And MindMeister is specifically a tool for mind maps or spider maps. There are lots of tools out there that do this. And as you can see, I just created a topic here, right here in the center, and I'll show you how it works. But I just wanted to add that you could use anything you want. It doesn't have to be MindMeister, but there's a couple of reasons why why I love mind maps to begin with. And second of all, why MindMeister is a little bit better than some of the other tools out there that also make mind maps. And I'll show you why. All right, first of all, when you go to mindmeister.com. I don't know if you can see that up here, but I'll put it up on the screen when I go back to full screen with me on the full screen. MindMeister is free if you only make 3 mind maps. And what I do is I just erase the stuff from the previous one and reuse it. So you make 3 mind maps when it's free. It's collaborative, so I can add people or that's adding an idea. I share it down below here. I can add 5 students to the mind map at the same time. And like I said, it's free. So when you first come on to mindmeister.com, you're going to see, and you create a new map, you'll see just a blue circle here in the center. And I pre-loaded this with the topic of my mind map will be characters from Toni Morrison novels. Because, again, normally you'd use a mind map to kind of compare and contrast or to organize data. Like what I used to love to use it for is essays. I would require that students, before they start to write a long essay, you could do it for a lab report, before they do a lab report, before they do a biography, for any type of writing, they must organize their thoughts first. So the center button will be this, for example, characters of the Toni Morrison novels. That's a center button. When I click enter, watch. I clicked enter once and the cursor went away and it kind of just like takes it as the box. If I hit it again, it'll create a subcategory, like a little extra bubble. And I'm going to write Beloved is another one of her books. I click enter once and the cursor goes away. I click enter again and it gives me another bubble on that same level, you may say. So I know another one of her books is called Zulu. Now let's say I want to create give the characters in Zulu. I want it to be like a sub-level of Zulu. That's the one time where you need to click tab. So either to get to another bubble, another level, or just remember you have to click either enter or tab. Those are the 2 main things that you need to remember about MindMeister. So let's say it's character number 1 in Zulu. I'm going to click enter twice. Character number 2, enter twice, and character number 3, enter twice. Now it's like, oh, I don't want that. I don't need that extra bubble. Just click anywhere else on the screen and that bubble goes away. So then over here on the side, there's all kinds of ways you can adjust it. Like I see how I've got Zulu highlighted. So I can make the text bigger or smaller. I can, I can add a separate color if I want. Over here is another submenu. This is the fill, so that's the color. This is the shape of the actual bubbles. This is I can create like a large bubble that goes over all of them. See, like that. Maybe I want to do that. Maybe I don't. Then on this particular bubble, I could add, look, I'm going to click here. Let's say I want to add a little check mark because they're like, not only are they emojis, they look pretty, but they may be a way for you to label, to categorize or tag the different topics in your essay. Like let's say Beloved has a character number 4 that has something to do with this particular character, I could add that same tag, and that way I know, oh, okay, these two characters have something to do with each other, and I'm going to include that in paragraph 2 of my essay, something like that. Each one you could also add little sticky notes, like these are notes down below that you may want to remember to as part of your presentation, or you may want to add, but you don't want to put on the map itself. You could add a comment, positive or negative. This arrow, I don't know why it's an arrow. It's for links. Maybe I want to add www. Oh, sorry, click there. I'm just going to put the New York Times because it popped up. But so now you can see that I have the URL of the New York Times there. So now that little bubble says to me I've got a note and I've got a URL that I can that is associated with that particular one. You could also add images. You could add a file down here. There's lots of different ways you can play with it. So the other thing is, let's say you add something but you don't like how it looks. You can click and drag over here like this. And the one last thing that it does is kind of cute. Like, see how I've got this highlighted? I can click on this button up here. It's a little arrow that would connect boxes. Like, let's say I don't want it to connect to the main. I want to connect the Zulu to beloved. So I've got Zulu highlighted. I click on this button, and all of a sudden it gives me another arrow. So I'm going to click to beloved, click to release it, and then as you can see, it allows me to change the shape of the circle just to make it look pretty. And then when I click somewhere else, those little handlebars go away. So that is how you create a spider map or a mind map in Mindmeister. Now here's the one special trick that I really like about Mindmeister. Can you see down below here, it's got like it looks like a presentation. It says setup presentation. If I click here, it's going to say auto create presentation. This is going to create slides, create a little presentation that's kind of like that online website called Prezi. I don't know if anybody remembers Prezi, but Prezi hasn't gone away. Prezi is a way that you could make presentations where you would like have a circle in the center and it would zoom in and then zoom out and then zoom into another Prezi circle and then zoom out. Does this remember? I don't know if anybody remembers this, but this is kind of similar to Prezi. If you go auto create presentation, it creates little slides that will do exactly that. Zoom into the main bubble, zoom out, zoom into the next main bubble. Like watch, start slideshow over here. I can rearrange the slides and everything too, but start slideshow and it just throws me right into that first bubble. The arrow down below will go into the second bubble. The arrow down below will go into the third bubble, and when I'm done, I just click Stop Slideshow. So it could be used as a presentation as well. Isn't that cool? I think it's like super helpful. I know a lot of kids have made these mind maps and stopped there, but you could really use them as a presentation. I very often use these in lots of different ways. And let me just come back to full screen mode because this is strange for me because I'm not looking at myself. I'm looking just at the screen and everybody else is looking at me. Okay, so let me come back to full screen mode and let's talk about all the different ways you could use these brainstorming or mind map techniques. Because what I love about brainstorming is that it gets lots of students talking. As we all know, you don't want to be the only one talking the whole time. You know, you want your students participating, talking to each other, talking to you, talking as a whole group, class, as talking in small groups. So brainstorming allows them to do that in a really non-threatening way that everybody participates. So you could do that with something like Jamboard. You could do that with something like Mindmeister. You could do that with other things like Padlet, and there's probably a million other ways you could do it as well. So brainstorming is great for getting people involved, getting students talking, getting people relating to each other, especially when students are at home alone. It's a great way to get them participating in class. So that's one thing. The other reason I love brainstorming or, flow charts or mind maps, however you want to do it, is that it's a great step one to a final bigger product. So it could be a flow chart to decide, how do I represent all of these facts resulting in this other entity, or what is the vocabulary I need to describe the dentist, whatever it may be. It's step one to get students to organize their ideas, their thoughts, the flow, the organization, the categories. It's step one in order to produce a better product for step two. I hope that makes sense, because the way I used to use it was, especially when I was in an advanced language class, we would read one author in a variety of topics, or one theme with a variety of authors, and we always needed to organize the concepts, the examples, the ideas before sitting down to write the essay. So I would have them do these flowcharts or mind maps first, as like a first draft, turn that in, and then they were allowed to write the essay. And the best part about that is then they've got it all organized. They don't even mind writing the essay because they've done this first. Anytime you can graphically represent your information, it's such a huge help of learning the concepts and organizing the concepts first. So that I hope you find really helpful. That was my idea today, to get some online collaborative tools like Jamboard or Mindmeister, and use them in any way that would work for your class at your level. Oh, there was one other thing. I thought I'd just give you some other ideas as to other ways you could. Maybe I've mentioned it, but I'll just mention it again. I used to develop vocabulary lists this way for English language class, a foreign language class, any language-oriented classes. I would say, okay, everybody brainstorm. What vocabulary do we need to go to the doctor, for example? And everybody throws up words up there, and then somebody would translate them, and then we'd create a vocabulary list. In social studies, I would create a flow chart. Let's say we've talked about one topic, Black Lives Matter. What was that whole movement that we're in the middle of right now? What are some of the events? When did they happen, and where? And what led to the next thing? So it was like a flow chart of events before you write, your full topic. In science, what were the chain of reaction of events that led to the final product? Or in English, maybe you're using, or in any class, you use an image to brainstorm what people think, how they want to organize that, or all the topics related to that image. So those are just some other ideas as to how you could use it. Okay, so let me just give you one last thing. I wrote, if anybody would like to click on, if you're watching me live, this is a live link on the screen. It's a blog post that I wrote that deals with creating mind maps specifically, and how you could use them to improve student writing. So it's some of the same things, some different things. I just thought it might be helpful. And then the second resource I'd like to offer you is a free PDF checklist that I created that I thought would be helpful for people who are hybrid teaching, which is literally what I said, where you're teaching the online students and the in-person students at the same time. It's a challenging way to teach, so I wanted to be able to help out and give you some tried and true tips, resources, links that may be able to help you with this special type of modality that we're experimenting with these days. So anyway, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. Reach out to me right there at that email if you'd like, or that website. My email is the same, Maggie@brennan-consulting.com, or on my Facebook page, whatever you'd like, on the YouTube channel. Like me and follow, and I hope it's been helpful. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I'm glad you were here, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.